ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तो स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषो शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we welcome all of you in this Sunday session of Nectar of Instruction. So before starting the class, I would like to discuss about the assignment that I have given in the MCQ section. Particularly, one question I think created the confusion that what is the real atonement. Let me open the assignment. So, regarding this first question, real atonement means performing pious activities, stopping all impious activities, awakening our dormant Krishna consciousness, all of the above. So, most of the devotees has ticked up, has given all of the above. This question, this answer as a correct. But actually, if the question was, if the question would have been what is atonement means, then all of the above would have been the correct answer. But the real atonement means awakening our dormant Krishna consciousness should be the real atonement. That is what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport. So according to that purport, and the real atonement means actually that other so-called traditional atonement process will not be very much effective, or it will take a long time. So that's why the real atonement is awakening our dormant Krishna consciousness. So this was the main mistake most of the devotees has done. I think Karan Prabhu and Sushmita Mataji has done correctly. So they have got 100 out of 100. So that was the thing. And Sumanta Prabhuji was 90 only. That question was answered wrong. So about this, anyone has any thought, any introspection or anything? Otherwise, we can proceed to our today's session. I think this is clear. Okay. So let us start with our today's session. Today, last class we have discussed about the Uttahar principle, and we have discussed up to paragraph 7. If we go by this. So, just a small recap of what we have discussed in the last classes. The last class, this particularly this verse is the correcting 6 kind of faults. This verse is addressing the correction part, or we can say that what is the don'ts, what we should not do if we want to progress in our spiritual life. So this verse is Ottahara Prayasascha Prajalpa Niyamagraho Janasangascha Laulancho Shadavir Bhaktir Vinashyati. So these 6 kind of activity, if we keep on continue after starting our Krishna consciousness, then that will that will hinder our progress in Krishna consciousness. That will spoil our Krishna consciousness. That will spoil our devotional spirit, and it will not allow us to move forward smoothly. So we need to very much cautious so that we should avoid all these 6 activities. These are the nished. There are vidhi and nished. Vidhi means what are the things we need to do, positive things. And nished means what are the negative things we should not do. We should refrain from doing these things. So these are the activities. And we have started the purport that Srila Prabhupada is giving the background. The paragraph 1, 2, and 3 is actually talking about the background, the backdrop of performing such activities. Why we are provoked or impelled to commit such activities, like Uttahar, Prayasho, Prajalpo. Why we do all these activities? Why we indulge in this type of activities? Even though these activities are hampering our progress, but even though we are committing this type of activities, we are attached to this type of activities because we are having a sinful background. We have forgotten our real position, real constitutional position. So that we have discussed in paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3, because we have there is a difference between Mahatma and Duratma. We have become Duratma, and even sometimes so-called Mahatma, we are even sometimes acting as a so-called Mahatma, but which is actually categorized as a Duratma, because Mahatma means the person who is taking shelter of the divine energy of Krishna that we have seen. We have seen there are 3 kind of energies. The Krishna's energy can be divided grossly, means broad categorization is 3 kind of categorization. That is Antaranga Shakti, that is the original energy, that is his own energy, Antaranga Shakti. Then Bahiranga Shakti, that is external energy, and then in between, that is Tatastha Shakti. Tatastha Shakti is the Jiva. Jiva's position is Tatastha. Tatastha means in between. Thought means on the like seashore. Seashore is there is a thought. There is a bank. There is a river. There is a river bank. So on the bank of river or the seashore, so that part is called thought. So Tatastha means it is in between, neither on the river side nor on the land side. It is in between. That means Jiva has the propensity to, Jiva is actually the part of Antaranga Shakti, but as Jiva has been given the free will, so Jiva can come to the Bahiranga Shakti also. So that's why Jiva is called Tatastha Shakti. So by abusing and using the free will, By using the free will, Jiva remain under the care of Antaranga Shakti. Antaranga Shakti. And by abusing Jiva, when Jiva misuse the free will, then Jiva come under the category of Bahiranga Shakti. And when at that time Jiva enter into this material platform, fall down from the spiritual platform to material platform, and that is the enjoying spirit is there. So that is all about paragraph 1 to 3. And paragraph 4 is also related to that by the consequence of wrong choice. What is the wrong choice? We are suffering. There are 3 kinds of suffering we are undergoing in this material platform. That is, what are the 3 kinds of suffering? Miseries are there. That is klesha. There are 3 kinds of kleshas. One klesha is that klesha are given by other living entities. That is other living entities. That is adi bhautik klesha. Other living entities, just like coronavirus is giving klesha. So that is our suffering in this material world due to our wrong choice. We have chosen wrong decision. We have misused our free will, and we have come under the jurisdiction of material world, jurisdiction of Bahiranga Shakti, Durga. Another suffering is Adhyatmik suffering, Adhyatmik klesha. Adhyatmik klesha means the suffering of one's own mind and body. And another is Adhidoimuka klesha, that is suffering given by the demigods, like the natural calamities, tsunami, pestilence, flood, famine. There are so many types of Adhidoivik klesha. So these are the consequences that Jiva is facing when Jiva come under the jurisdiction of Bahiranga Shakti. So now, and the real problem of material existence is discussed in the paragraph 5, and that is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukha Doshanu Darshanam. So that is the real problem, and the solution. What is the solution? Solution is coming to the spiritual platform. And coming to the spiritual platform, but what is actually stopping us? The hindering factor, or the factors, or the reasons that is holding us back, is dragging us, pulling us back, is our tendency to enjoy in this material world, to become Lord in this material world. So that's why we are trying to accumulate more. We want to possess more. We want to become a possessor. So that is the economic problem is creating by possessing more wealth. Uttahar is meaning uti ahar. It is one is ahar means taking food. So taking more than necessary is actually called uttahar. So necessity, we have discussed, necessity is not denied, but extravagance, that means more than necessity. When we go beyond our necessity limit, that is actually causing the problem. So that is called uttahar, and that is actually leading to economic problem. The one section of people are accumulating more than that is necessary, and they are not understanding that all this wealth, whatever we are able to see tangibly, we can enjoy. We are thinking that we want to enjoy all those resources in this material world are actually, who is the proprietor? The proprietor is Lord Krishna. God is the proprietor. But we are denying God's existence, and we are thinking we are the actual enjoyer. Because we have come into this material world for a limited time span. It is something like we have taken a rented house. We have entered into the rented house. This material world is like our rented house. So we have entered in a particular date, and we have to vacate this house after a particular time span. So how can we possess? How can we claim that we are the proprietor of this place? So that is our misconception. Because we are under the spell of Maya, we are thinking that this is my resources. I am the proprietor, I am the enjoyer, I am the creator of all these things. So I should enjoy. So that is the That's why we are accumulating more than necessary. So the solution of this Uttahar is simple living and high thinking. And Prayasha is also like that. Prayasha is also for Uttahar only we do our endeavor. We are not telling, Krishna consciousness is not, Srila Prabhupada is not telling that we should not endeavor. We should endeavor. For material existence is a struggle for existence. So we have to endeavor. We have to accumulate some resources which is necessary for our existence to keep our body and soul together. That minimum necessity is not denied, but extravagant. We are not denied that we should not live comfortably. Prabhupada has said many times, devotees should live and lead a life comfortable. Comfortable life is not denied or is not criticized by the Shastra also. And bhakti is not about Krishna sadhana. Bhakti is not about severe austerity. No, that is a wrong conception. That bhakti means severe austerity. No, bhakti means do moderate austerity. Moderate. Bhakti pantha, bhakti path is a moderate path. It is the middle path. It is not too much comfort. Too much comfort with extravagance. Too much things and not too much austerity. It is a middle path. So that's why this simple path of bhakti can be taken by anyone. Grihastha, Sannyasi, Banprastha, anyone, Brahmachari, anyone can take this bhakti. But other path like Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, these type of path are not very easy to perform. So that is the thing. So that's why this simple living and high thinking. Simple living means we have to take care of our basic necessity and we have to live our life simply. And we have to focus our all energy, most of our energy into high thinking. So now we will enter into the book with this short recap, whatever we have discussed in last class. We are now going to the Srila Prabhupada purport. Yes. So last class we have shown some video also that we have discussed up to this paragraph. Collecting and eating more than necessary also causes prayasha. So we have seen that there is no need for man to move from one place to another to earn livelihood. For one can produce food grains locally and get milk from cows. So this is the Varnashram system Srila Prabhupada is talking about. And by God's arrangement, this is the most important sentence. By God's arrangement, anyone in any part of the world can live very peacefully if he has some land and cow. So land and cow is the actual real resource, our real dhan. So that is our dhan is actually based on our land, that is the shosho, grains. When somebody has a stock of grain, that is called dhan, not the paper currency. So the Prabhupada has rejected this paper currency because this paper currency is actually creating an artificial inflation, artificial economic problem. There is actually no economic problem, but due to this paper currency and the artificial way of living standard, this economic problem is happening. Actually, Srila Prabhupada's solution, this if the entire world adopt this solution, there will be no economic problem. All the economic problem will be solved at one stroke by just implementing Srila Prabhupada's principle, Daivi Varnashram system. So we have seen this thing, that this is actually the main highlight of this particular verse, that we have to minimize our unnecessary requirements, unnecessary demands that is coming from our enjoying mentality. If we have to transform our enjoying spirit into devotional spirit, enjoying means to take and take and take from the God's resource. By denying God, we are only interested in taking God's resource and energy. And devotional spirit means giving everything in the Lord's service. So completely revert. So we have to change the direction, and that is the main solution. So this we have discussed. So now, what we actually mean by this high thinking? High thinking means what? What is the perfection of high thinking? So can anyone read by unmuting themselves? Karan Prabhu, can you read this human life is meant for God realization, this paragraph? By unmuting yourself, you have a problem with your audio system. No problem. Sushmita Mataji, can you
Yes.
unmute yourself and read this paragraph?
Human life.
Yes.
Human life is meant for God realization, and the human being is given higher intelligence for this purpose. Those who believe that this higher intelligence is meant to attain a higher state should follow the instructions of the Vedic literatures. By taking such instructions from higher authorities, one can actually become situated in perfect knowledge and give real meaning to life.
Very good. Thank you, Mataji. You can
Okay.
unmute yourself. Mute yourself now. Okay. So this is actually our purpose, that Krishna has given higher intelligence. We are thinking that this higher intelligence given to mankind is to enjoy in a royal way than the greater way, nicer way than the animal. But actually, higher intelligence is not meant to become a royal edition of animalistic society. So today's, if we are not using this higher intelligence for the purpose of understanding Krishna, understanding the higher authority, then this is actually misuse of this higher intelligence. So that's why when we are not going to utilize this our higher intelligence in our next birth, we will be given the lower intelligence, because we have not used this. We have only used our intelligence just to do the eating, meeting, sleeping in a polished way. So then Krishna will think that this fellow has misused, has not utilized his asset. The asset has been given by me. I have given him an asset, but he has misused it. Suppose someone has given you 1 kilo weight of gold. But if you use that 1 kilo gold of 1 kilo gold for washing the cloth, like we have seen na dhoba, they beat the cloth to clean the cloth. If someone use that thing in that way, or using as a paperweight, 1 kilo gold is there, using as a paperweight. What the gift, the person who has given, he will think that he is misusing the gift, so let him give a stone only. So similarly, we have been given human body is like a golden opportunity, but if we misuse this golden opportunity, we will be given stone like opportunity, we will be given animal body. Okay, you have used your golden opportunity, your human form, in an animalistic way, so let us you have an animalistic body. So that's why if one keep on misusing his higher intelligence, then he will be awarded. He will be going gliding down to the animal kingdom. So that's why Srimad Bhagavatam is telling in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Shuta Goswami is giving this verse: Dharmasya hi apavargasya na artha arthaya upakalpate na arthasya dharmasya ikantakasya kamulobhaya smrito. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. Thus, they should never be performed for material gain. Further, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate self gratification. So, this is the highest, this is the higher intelligence. This is the direction how the higher intelligence should be used. So, we have to do some activity. Occupational engagement will be there. Either we are in the human form of life, or in the animal form of life. But what is the ultimate liberation? The occupational engagement should be meant for ultimate liberation. Ultimate liberation means to get out of from this cycle of birth and death. Punarupi jananam, punarupi maranam, punarupi janani, yasodete shayanam. Again and again we are coming into this material world. We are entering into a mother's womb. We are taking birth, and then we are enjoying for some time with suffering, with lots of suffering, with little bit of enjoyment, and then we are getting old. Again we are suffering. We are getting diseased. We are suffering, and then we are dying. Again suffering. Again we are entering a human form of life or in any animal form. We are entering into mother's womb. In that womb we are again suffering. So this cycle is going on. So the ultimate liberation, we are looking for liberation. That's why we are enjoying. Why we are enjoying? This enjoying spirit is actually the manifestation of our endeavor, our actual desire to liberate it out. We want to solve this problem. Human life is we are engaging ourselves in solving the problem, but we are not understanding how to solve. So that's why the solution is that ultimate occupational service. And what is that ultimate occupational service? Prabhupada will explain this thing, that dharmasya hi apavargasya. Apavarga means there is pavarga. We all know pavarga, pa, fa, ba, bha, ma, isn't it? Pavarga. So pavarga. Now this pavarga, according to Shastra, this pa, fa, ba, bha, ma denotes a particular suffering. Pa means what? The pa is actually Parishram. Okay, pa is Parishram. Pa. So after Parishram, what happens? Fana. Fa means fana. Sometimes we have seen that horses, donkeys, they are foaming. So in our human form of life also, we also become very tired and we got exhausted and we start sometimes foaming. So this is also a suffering. Parishram, pa for Parishram, fa for fana, pa for, and then pa for ba. Ba is what is that? Ba for ba. Ba is, I think, Badhi, something like that. I need to check actually. There are this Pafa, and last Ma is Mrityu. I just cannot remember exactly the Ba and Ba for Ba. Ba is Bhoy. We always become fearful. Okay, fearful, and Ma is Mrityu, death. So I'm just forgetting what is that on Ba. Ba means, I think, Adhi or Bardhoppo, something maybe. I will clarify it later. So this pa, fa, ba, bha, ma, this is the pa varga. So now, if we keep on engage in this material platform, then we will be suffering like anything. Okay, Parishram, fana, then bhoy, and then mrityu. Okay, so this way we are going to suffering. The apavarga means get out of this suffering. So get out of this suffering means coming to the spiritual platform. This is the main. And even in spiritual life also, we need to engage in Krishna's service. We should not cultivate sense gratification. So that is the main thing, the material gain. Even in the dharma, when we are using dharma, then the real purpose of dharma is to get out of this material entanglement. Dharma, sometimes the so-called those who are karmi, they perform dharma acharan. They also do dharma, but their dharma is for artha. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. This dharma, artha, kama, moksha will not give us permanent happiness. Shushmita Mataji, I think you are not muted. Mute yourself. Now it is muted. Shushmita Mataji. So this dharma, artha, kama, moksha will not give our permanent happiness. So that's why even while performing dharma, if we get some artha, that artha should not be used for kama, for sense gratification. That's why it is said na arthasya dharma dharmoikantasya kama lobhaya hismrito. That is, one should not, who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service, dharma, that is the paradharma. This is actually paradharma, should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. Okay, so this is what Srila Prabhupada is telling, that this is the purport of high thinking, higher thinking. We are telling simple living and high thinking. So high thinking is this: we have to think. Human life has been thinking means why thinking? Because we have been given the intelligence, higher intelligence. That's why we can think. And thinking means we have to come to the ultimate platform, ultimate solution. Otherwise, we are again going down towards that animalistic propensity. Okay. So this is the thing. So again, we should go back to the PPT. What is it showing? So 9 to 11, this concept is elaborated. What is the ultimate perfection of high thinking? So let us keep on continue reading that. Acha, Shukanta Prabhu, can you read this paragraph? The first step in human civilization?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The first step in human civilization consists of occupational engagements performed according to the scriptural injunctions. The higher intelligence of a human being should be trained to understand the basic dharma. In human society, there are various religious conceptions characterized as Hindu, Christian, Hebrew, Mohammedan, Buddhist, and so on. For without religion, human society is no better than animal society.
Thank you. So that is the thing, that human society should have some kind of dharma. Now, what kind of dharma is the best? That is Srila Prabhupada is coming. Okay. So as stated above, dharmasya hi apavargasya na arthaya upakalpate. A religion is meant for attaining emancipation, not for getting bread. So that is the point. I was telling that dharma should not be used for dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Okay, dharma should be used for emancipation. If that is not happening, that means that is not the real dharma. Sometimes human society manufactures system of so-called religion aimed at manufacture material advancement. That is called dharma artha, to gain artha. But that is far from the purpose of the dharma, real purpose, true purpose of the dharma, true dharma. Purpose of the true dharma. Religion entails understanding the laws of God, because the proper execution of these laws ultimately leads one out of material entanglement. So that is the point, that we need to understand the what is the law of God. That is called what is dharma? Dharma means dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma means the law that has been given by Sakshat Bhagavan, not anyone else, or not concocted by my own understanding. So Lord has given this dharma. This dharma means this real dharma, that how to get out from this material entanglement. So that is the true purpose of religion. Unfortunately, people accept religion for material prosperity because of uttahar or an excessive desire for such prosperity. So that is the thing I was telling, that dharma most of the time has been interpreted as a stepping stone, for accumulating artha. Accumulating artha, more and more artha. So that's why, that is called uttahar and prayasha. So they are performing religious activity for accumulating more money. Someone is worshipping some demigod so that he can become rich person. So all these things. So externally it may seem that he is very pious person, he is very religious person, but his main desire is to accumulate more money, so that he becomes successful in his all endeavor of of collecting money, earning money. So that is means Uttaharis Prayash is actually in his heart. In one's heart is having, so that's why he is performing all these activities. So this is how this is not the real religion. This is so-called religion. This is very what can we say? At least this is better than atheistic. Those who are atheistic or those who are not following in religion, for them it is okay as a starting level. Okay, you start. Yeah, so you are completely devoid of any sorts of religion. At least you start with this. But true religion, however, instructs people to be satisfied with the bare necessity of life while cultivating Krishna consciousness. This is very important line. So true religion means that you become satisfied with your bare necessity of life while cultivating Krishna consciousness. That is actual religion. So even though we require economic development, true religion allows it only for supplying the bare necessity of material existence. Jivasya tattva jigyasa. This is another. So jiva means living entity means tattva jigyasa. That is the primary goal. That is the most important goal. That is the priority. That should be the priority in the human form of life. That I want to know the tattva. I should have a jigyasa for tattva, not jigyasa for how to earn more money, how to get promotion in my office, how to become more profitable in my business. If our whole life becomes jigyasa in this subject matter, that how to become uttahari and prayashi, then we are actually wasting our human form of life. The real purpose of life is to inquire about the absolute truth. If our endeavor is not to inquire about the absolute truth, we will simply increase our endeavor to satisfy our artificial needs. A spiritual aspirants should avoid mundane endeavor. So that is the point. That if we see prayash means endeavor is a manifestation of Jiva's energy, isn't it? We are part of parcel of supreme energetic. So we have some energy. So where to utilize that energy? We are prone to do some endeavor to prayash. But if our prayash, direction of prayash is not to inquire about absolute truth, then it will divert, because endeavor should be there. Those people who are not in Krishna consciousness, they are engaging their endeavor into accumulating or satisfying their artificial needs by enjoying their life, by going club, by going parties, by drinking, by spending with so many friends, by buying so many items from shopping malls, ordering so many things from online. So they are surfing throughout the day and night. They are surfing, they are watching nonsense films. So all these things they are going on just to channelize, because the endeavor is there. Human being is full of energy, soul is full of dynamics. So they need some activity. Without activity, senses cannot stay static. So they are engaging in this type of nonsense activities. So either we have to engage our endeavor, direct our endeavor towards inquiring about absolute truth. But those who are Krishna conscious, they are endeavoring how I can know Krishna, how I can know more about Krishna, what Krishna has done in this month of Kartik, why we are celebrating. We need to introspect. Yesterday Prabhuji was telling that we need to introspect, that we are every year celebrating this Kartik, but where we are progressing, how we are relishing. Are we able to absorb our thought and mind in Krishna consciousness, in the Krishna's pastime, in the Krishna's activity? What is going on in our mind? That we should endeavor. That we have to endeavor to bring our mind from distraction to the attraction of Krishna. There will be distraction. Hare Krishna, I think someone is getting Karan Prabhu, you are getting unmuted. So this is the point, that we have to focus our attraction towards Krishna. if there can be some distraction because we are in the material platform and we are not we have not come to the platform of the perfection. So there may be some distraction here and there, but we have to be very much alert that whether our endeavor is going unnecessarily. It is not that this verse is not telling that we have to stop all our activity, but we should see that okay, we may not have our land and cow, that is fine, okay, but we are working in some organization. I am also working, devotees are also working, because we are into this type of occupation even before coming to Krishna consciousness. Now all of a sudden we cannot leave because we have family, we have responsibility. But we need to see that we should not engage ourselves in those activity more than necessary. That we have to see. And we should not increase our artificial need. Suppose I have a house, and with that house I am maintaining myself nicely. I am maintaining my Krishna consciousness nicely. So suppose I am having extra money. So what shall I do? Shall I buy another flat? No, that is the point we have to understand. Simple living means I need not to increase my comfort in an extravagant level. Rather, if I have extra money, after my all my basic needs are fulfilled, my family needs are fulfilled. If I have some surplus money, surplus resource, surplus endeavor, surplus anything we can utilize for the Lord's service. Then that is called also simple living. That giving donation, beyond that is suppose our income is more, but our necessity is less. If we can come to that point, then we can use that extra money, surplus resource, surplus time. Time is also resource. So we have to see that how much time we are utilizing it. So that's why we have to see that this mundane endeavor or Krishna conscious endeavor. So that we have to understand. So now we are going to the Prajalpa. Prajalpa part is in this paragraph. Acha, Karan Prabhu, can you read? I think your audio has become okay. You can try to read this paragraph, Prabhuji.
Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, very much clearly.
Another impediment is prajalpa, unnecessary talking. When we mix with a few friends, we immediately begin unnecessary talking, sounding just like croaking toads. If we must talk, we should talk about the Krishna consciousness movement. Those outside of the Krishna consciousness movement are interested in reading heaps of newspapers, magazines, and novels, solving crossword puzzles, and doing Prabhuji can't read doing many other nonsensical things. In this fashion, people simply waste their valuable time and energy. In the Western countries, old men retired from active life play cards, fish, watch television, and debate about useless socio-political schemes. All these and other frivolous activities are included in the Prajalpa category. Intelligent persons interested in Krishna consciousness should never take part in such activities.
Thank you. So, this Srila Prabhupada has written when there was no internet. But now, if Srila Prabhupada would have been there, Srila Prabhupada must have included this internet part. This internet, WhatsApp, Facebook, social networking is actually taking a global Prajalpa network. It is actually global Prajalpa category, completely Prajalpa. So we have to be very much cautious that in the name of Jukta Vairagya, suppose we are Jukta Vairagya means we are in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means that we should come to the platform of Vairagya, detachment. But we should not come to the platform of Phalgu Vairagya, that is what I can say, show bottle Vairagya, show bottle detachment. So it is not that we have to detach from this internet, but we should see that it should be utilized for the Krishna service only, not for my Prajalpo category, not for my entertaining my Prajalpo propensity. So that we should have also see, because this Prabhupada has mentioned television. Now television has come into our mobile phone through our mobile data and network. So now so much distraction is there, so many things are happening, so many nonsensical, useless, and what I can say, dangerous. The children, particularly the teenagers, are at very at the point of very much vulnerable towards this type of this technology, this multimedia phone. Socio, this it is the parents and the sociologists, psychologists, they are very much worried. The exposure of this technology is actually killing the teenagers. They are allured at a very innocent age. From the very beginning of their innocent age, they are attracted towards this multimedia kind of phone, and the so many exposed to this internet was through mobile phone. Previously it was computer, so it was not readily available with all the time. It was a desktop or laptop, it was in some one corner of the house, but now telephone, mobile is always available in the hand. So the distraction, the Prajalpo, this is actually very, very prominent in today's world. And we are the Krishna consciousness, our Krishna consciousness, even those who are into this movement, they are also affected by this Prajalpo of internet. Yeah. There are so many frivolous activities. Prabhupada has mentioned that this Abhyartha Kalattam. Abhyartha Kalattam means the devotee should not waste time in a mundane way, unnecessary way, because time is very important resource. A moment gone uselessly cannot be bought back by spending any amount of money. We cannot bought back a single moment of time. So we have to be very much alert that what I am speaking and how I am utilizing this thing. This is very, very important thing. So we need to understand. So this Prajalpo should be very, very cautiously avoided. Yesterday, Hanuman Puji was also telling this same thing. Acha, Sushmita Mataji, can you read now this paragraph? Janasanga.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Now, please read.
Yes, I'm just reading. I'm finding in my book.
You can see in the screen also. Screen is that Janasanga. Yeah.
Janusanga refers to associating with persons not interested in Krishna consciousness. One should strictly avoid such association. Srila Narottama Dasa Thakura has therefore advised us to live only in the association of Krishna conscious devotees, Bhakta Sane Vasa. One should always engage in the service of the Lord in association of the Lord's devotees. Association with those engaged in a similar line of business is very conducive to advancement in that business. Consequently, materialistic persons form various associations and clubs to enhance their endeavors. For example, in the business world, we find such institutions as the Stock Exchange and Chamber of Commerce. Similarly, we have established the International Society of Krishna Conscious, those who have not forgotten Krishna consciousness, to give people an opportunity to associate with those who have not forgotten Krishna. This spiritual association offered by our ISKCON movement is increasing day by day. Many people from different parts of the world are joining this society to awaken their dormant Krishna consciousness.
Thank you. So the solution, the problem of Prajalpo can be solved if we associate with the devotee and we avoid non-devotional association. That is the solution. So it is related, Prajalpo and Janasanga. So we have to avoid Janasanga and we have to come to Krishna Bhavanamrita Sangha. This Krishna Bhavanamrita Sangha, if we are protected by the Krishna Bhavanamrita Sangha, then we will not be affected by Jana Sangha. And if we are not affected by Jana Sangha, we will not do Prajalpa. And we have to see, only thing we have to see, even after coming into the devotee association, we should not start doing that same activity that we were doing in Jana Sangha, that we are prone to do in Jana Sangha. In the Jana Sangha, we are prone to do non-devotional discussion. And that discussion is actually waste of time. That activity is waste of time. That activity is actually reducing our lifespan, because it is wastage of our valuable time. And it is this Jana Sangha, this Prajalpo is actually is dragging us away from Krishna. Krishna Katha and Gramma Katha. There are two types of Katha. Krishna Katha and Gramma Katha. Gramma Katha means which is related to the mundane topics. Yesterday Prabhuji was giving nice example. PNPC. Paraninda Parocharcha. Prabhuji was a caricature, who is doing nice caricatures. I am not so expert like Arunam. So we need to understand that this kind of PNPC, this kind of Prajalpa will not give us any benefit. Rather, it will destroy, like mega serials going on in television, days after days. And people are allured to see. They are very much particular. They don't want to miss one single episode. If the television is some problem, they are now able to see in the mobile. YouTube channels are there, TV channels are there in the mobile, in the YouTube. So they don't want to miss. But if that same attraction towards seeing these serials and mundane topics are diverted to Krishna Katha, this is Gramma Katha. If we divert this same attraction towards Krishna Katha, then that will become our solution of our material existence. That people are not understanding. And that's why Srila Prabhupada has gifted the whole world this matchless gift of Krishna consciousness, this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, so that like-minded people can come together and glorify Krishna, and others also can see how the Krishna conscious devotees are glorifying Krishna. On that day, I think you have all heard that Amogila Prabhuji was telling that Krishna devotees are the most happiest devotee, happiest person in the world. Those who are not devotee of Krishna, they are not happy people. They have so much anxiety in their mind. Even though externally they may be enjoying, externally it may seem that Krishna devotees are going that same place and hearing that same katha, and externally it may seem that this mundane, this materialistic people are going here and going there, enjoying this way, in that way. But ultimately, why they are doing so? Because in their heart, in their mind, in the inner core of their mind and heart, they are suffering like anything. They are hankering for this thing today, that thing today. They are not satisfying. They are not getting that fulfillment in their life. And that's why they are changing their activities. Today one cinema, tomorrow another cinema. Today one episode, tomorrow another episode. But Krishna conscious devotees, they are entering into the spiritual variety. They are searching. Both are searching for happiness. Materialistic people are also searching for happiness. Devotees are also searching for happiness. But they are searching happiness in materialistic variety, and we are searching happiness in spiritual variety. There is variety in spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada has mentioned spiritual life is not dull. It is not like only chanting Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Krishna consciousness is not like that. Krishna consciousness is vibrant, dynamic. It is full of varieties of activities. So we need to relish this thing. We need to more we dive deep into the into the nectarian ocean of Krishna consciousness. We will relish the nectar of Krishna consciousness. Nectar is there, but it is not on the surface. The nectar is a little bit at the deeper realm of the Krishna consciousness. So we need to go deeper. So that's why we need to increase our chanting. We are increase our devotional activities, increase our time. At least quantitatively we should increase. Quality will come naturally. Quantity is in our hand. When Krishna will see that this person, this devotee is trying his level best, he is utilizes most of his time in my service, then Krishna will bestow his blessing. Krishna will bestow his blessing. Radharani will bestow her blessing. And then our life will be successful. One day we will find, we will see that we are always thinking about Krishna. We can never forget Krishna. Now we are hardly remembering Krishna. Now we have to come from this hardly remembering to Krishna to come hardly forgetting Krishna. So that is the point. Even though we try, gopis are telling in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is there. Gopis are telling that we try to forget you. We try to forget you, but we are not able to forget you. So that is the platform, highest platform. Even though you try to forget Krishna, you will never forget Krishna. Because Krishna was not present in Vrindavan. The gopis were feeling separation. And they were telling that I want to forget you. Gopis were telling to Krishna that we are trying to forget you, but we are not able to forget you. So that is the highest platform of Krishna consciousness. And the day will come in our life also. If we follow these instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is a person, living example. Our present day acharyas are living example. Senior devotees are living example of that. They are always engaged in Krishna conscious activities, either directly or indirectly. Even though externally they are doing all the mundane activity. Prabhupada is telling in this purport that externally devotees may think they are doing all sorts of activities, but actually internally they are doing all that things in a Krishna conscious way. So that is the art of doing activities. So this can only happen when we come under in the association of devotees. Okay. So next paragraph we are going. So here the Uttahar principle is elaborated by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So I will request Shukanta Prabhu, could you please read this paragraph?
Yes, Prabhu. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anukriti commentary that too much endeavor to acquire knowledge on the part of mental speculators or dry philosophers falls within the category of Attahar.
Uttahar, that means collecting more than needed. Yes. Next.
Collecting more than needed. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, the endeavor of philosophical speculators to write volumes of books on dry philosophy devoid of Krishna consciousness is entirely futile. The work of karmis who write volumes of books on economic development also falls within the category of Attahar. Similarly, those who have no desire for Krishna consciousness and who are simply interested in possessing more and more material things, either in the shape of scientific knowledge or monetary gain, are all included under the control of Attahar.
Very good. So here the Uttahar principle has been elaborated, that accumulation, not only accumulation of material resource, but the academic knowledge is also categorized as Uttahar. Because by accumulating academic knowledge, if one finally is not understanding Krishna, is not coming to the platform of Krishna consciousness, then that those knowledge is all useless knowledge. Because just for maintaining one life and one body, one's basic necessity, this so much academic qualifications is not required. This philosophical speculation, so much volumes of books is not required to maintain our basic lifestyle. So that's why all these things, it may seem that it is not particularly the Gyanis. The Gyanis, they are very much detached from externally. It may seem that they are very much renounced. They have renounced. Their propaganda is Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. They are telling this material world is useless because they are actually frustrated, guys. So that is the Gyanis position. They become frustrated by enjoying. They realize that there is no enjoyment in the material world, material platform. So they renounce it. And they are telling that Brahma Sattva, Brahma is only Sattva. But they are thinking that Brahma Sattva means that merging into the Brahma. Merging into the Brahma, and they are thinking that now I want to become God. So they are thinking their procedure is that as a jiva, I cannot enjoy. So if I become Krishna, if I take the position of Krishna's position, then I will able to enjoy. Actually, in their heart, the enjoyment is there to take the Krishna's position. Actually, that is why we have come down into this material world. And this is actually called the last layer of Maya. So through philosophical speculation, by misinterpreting Vedic conclusion, they are writing so many books. And also Karmis, they are also writing economic development book. There are so many books how you can become rich, how you can become one of the billionaire, how you can become like Bill Gates, how you can become like Warren Buffett. So many books are there. They are bestseller book. Why they are bestseller book? Because everyone is after in the economic development. So this is the bookish way of economic development, and another is gross way of economic development. They are accumulating more money. And another group of karmi, they are planning how I can accumulate money. So that's why they are writing book, they are selling book, and another group of karmi are reading those books. So all this is categorized as uttahar, because ultimately their goal is to accumulate more money or more mundane knowledge. So someone is doing MA, PhD, MPhil, double PhD, but what is the goal? Ultimately, any research work, if that is not culminating in understanding Krishna consciousness, that is actually useless. That is what Krishna has told in the Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavanam kalpadante vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma dullabha. But if they ultimately come to the Krishna consciousness, then that is a successful. And that type of oikantik, that type of jnani, that type of extraordinarily knowledgeable bhakta is very rare. That knowledge, that those who have a combination of jnana and bhakti, that is actually desired. We should have a proper knowledge about Krishna consciousness, and we should perform with that knowledge Krishna consciousness activities. It is not that the only activities will help us. So that is the point of Uttahar. So Sushmita Mataji, can you read this paragraph?
Which one? Karmis.
Karmis.
Karmis labor to accumulate more and more money for future generations only because they do not know their future position. Interested only in getting more and more money for their sons and grandsons, such foolish persons do not even know what their position is going to be in the next life. There are many incidents that illustrate this point. Once a great Karmi accumulated vast fortune for his sons and grandsons, but later, according to his karma, he took his birth in a cobbler's house located near the building which his previous life he had constructed for his children. It is so happened that when this very cobbler came to his former house, his former sons and grandsons beat him with shoes. Unless the karmis and the gyanis become interested in Krishna consciousness, they will simply continue to waste their life in fruitless activities.
Exactly. So this is the situation. This is what we have discussed now. That these karmis are accumulating resource, gross resource, and gyanis are accumulating knowledgeable resource. So both are accumulation in that. Their main goal is I am so much knowledgeable. Gyanis are that thing, and karmis are I have so much possession. They have materialistic possessions, and gyanis have academic possessions. Both are actually their pride is not to become Krishna conscious. They are not to become religious. Their main goal is to show the world that see how much possession I am having, as either in the form of material possession, materialistic things, or in the form of knowledge. So that is the point. And the wonderful analogy, the wonderful example has been given. 1% that is given in the Shastra. That 1%. So this is the situation. If it's the of the karmi, that those who are very much attached, okay, we should take care of our sons and grandson. That is not problem. But that does not mean that we will engage or give our whole life, whole time only in that activity. Okay, whatever the activity, whatever the necessity, whatever the responsibility we have towards our sons and daughters, our family, we should do. But that does not mean that we should forget our main activity. That is the point. Prabhupada is very much practical. Prabhupada is not giving anything impractical solution. So that we need to understand. This example does not mean that we have to completely neglect our responsibility for our family. No, we should do our responsibility. We will perform our responsibility. We will do our responsibility. We will execute all our responsibility nicely, but without forgetting Krishna, keeping Krishna at the center. That is the main point. So now, Karan Prabhuji, can you read this part, accepting some of the scriptural rules and regulations? This is called Niyamagraha.
According to some of the scriptural rules and regulations for immediate benefit, as utilitarians advocate, is called Niyamagraha, and neglecting rules and regulations of the Shastras, which are meant for spiritual development, is called Niyamagraha. The word agraha means eagerness to
Accept.
ac-
Accept. Eagerness to accept.
accept, and
Agraha. One is
agraha means
agraha.
failure to agraha means failure to accept.
Yes.
By the addition of either of these two words or to the word niyama, rules and regulations, the word niyamagraha is formed. Thus, niyamagraha has a twofold meaning that is understood for according to the particular combination of words. Those interested in Krishna consciousness should not be eager to accept rules and regulations for economic advancement. Yet they should very faithfully accept scriptural rules and regulations for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. They should strictly follow the regulative principles by avoiding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication.
Thank you. So this Niyamagraha, this word is actually having a twofold meaning. Let's just have a brief discussion. It's a very simple thing. Niyam plus agraho. Agraho means accepting. Okay, desire to accept. That is called Niyamagraha. That is means what? That is ritualistic. One is ritualistically adhering to the principle without knowing the purport or without connecting it to the Krishna consciousness. Ritualistically activity we are doing. That is called Niyamagraha. And Niyamagraha means that is for the sake of my enjoyment, I am just ignoring, neglecting all rules and regulations. I am saying that there is no rules and regulations. So that is called Niyamagraha. So we need to come to the perfect understanding of Niyama, that what are the niyams, what are the rules and regulations is helpful. We should not become helpful for my Krishna consciousness, for our Krishna consciousness. So that we need to understand. We should not be ritualistic, religionist, that we are following only rules and regulation, but we don't have any inclination for Krishna consciousness. That is good for nothing. And we should not be like those who are completely materialistic enjoyer, that there is no rules and regulation. Shastras are nothing. That is good for nothing. So that is also will not help. So we have to come to the proper understanding that rules and regulations are meant for my advancing my Krishna consciousness, and that is what rules and regulations Srila Prabhupada has given. Follow these four principles. Avoid illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. Simple thing. And you chant 16 rounds minimum and take association. Thus, if you follow this thing and you honor food and take prasad, finish. Simple thing, very simple process. If one keep on doing at the last breath of his life, he will be transferred to the spiritual world. Simple thing. So this is called Niyamagraha. Now, this Mayavadi, Bhuktikami and Muktikami and Shiktikami, they are also falling under this Uttahari, because this Mayavadi, this one should also avoid association with Mayavadis who simply blaspheme devotees. So this is also Janasangho. We have, while taking the association of devotees or while taking the association of people, we should be very much alert to avoid the association of Mayavadis. Because by associating with Mayavadis, our Krishna consciousness will be completely spoiled. Mayavadis, I think everyone knows who was our Mayavadis. Mayavadis means those who don't believe in the form of Krishna. They are not believing in the form of Krishna. They believe Krishna's actual everything is light, Brahmajyoti. And ultimately merging into the Brahma. Everyone is actually, Mayavadi is actually not Brahma. This is a Brahmavadi, and Mayavadis are further blasphemer. They say that actually everyone is Krishna, everyone is God. There is only oneness. They believe in oneness, that everyone is God. But that is actually not the truth. That is actually not the fact. Actually, there is Krishna and there is Krishna's devotee. There is God and there is Jiva. Because we have already started the discussion with three kinds of energy. Krishna is the supreme energetic and we are energy, parts and parcel. But Mayavadi says, no, everything is one. Everything is one. So that is another discussion. I'm not entering into the detailed discussion. The Mayavadi means they deny Krishna's transcendental form. They say that this form is also material. So that's why they say they think that Krishna's form is Maya and everything is Maya. This Jagat is Maya. Brahma Sattva Jagat Mithya. Mithya means everything is Maya. So they say everything is Maya. But that is actually not the case. Only Brahma is Sattva. Brahma means everyone is Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahma. Krishna is actually Brahma. I am actually Brahma. Everything is Brahma means they are thinking that we are also one. So there is no two. If there is no two, there is no service. And when there is no service, then everyone is supreme. So ultimately, they are actually in an indirect way denying Krishna. So that is an atheistic propaganda in a sophisticated way. Nothing else. And Bhuktikami means those who are materialistic karmi. Muktikami means they are desiring for liberation, absolute liberation, they form formless liberation. And Siddhikami means they are after acquiring mystic yoga. Yoga Siddhis. They are also Uttaharis. Someone is Siddhikami, Muktikami, Bhuktikami, all are in the same category. They are after something accumulating more. Either in the form of Mukti, either in the form of Bhukti, or in the form of Siddhi. This is their defect. So finally, desire to expand the mind by perfecting mystic yoga, merging in the existence of Brahman or attaining whimsical material prosperity are all included within the category of Lobha. Now, Lolam means the Lobha. So Lobha is also in the same thing, accumulating more than necessary, merging into the Brahman. Brahman merging is actually the Mayavadis are thinking, Brahmavadis are thinking that I will take the position of Lord. So that is actually Lolam. And whimsical material prosperity. They are thinking more than necessary. Greed. This greed is also a spoiling factor. So our attempts to acquire such material benefits or so-called spiritual advancement are impediments on the path of Krishna consciousness. So we should not run after this Lolam. Rather, we should transfer our Lolam for hearing about Krishna. That is the solution. So in the last paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is again highlighting the Uttahar principle. Actually, this Uttahar is actually the root cause and which is reflected through Prayasho, Prajalpo, Janasangho, Niyamagraha, and Laulancha. Uttahar is the main culprit. We have something more. So that is the accumulation of more. What is more means more than the necessary. More what is necessary. So that's why the modern warfare waged between capitalists and communists due to the avoiding their advice of Sri Rupa Goswami is Uttahar. The capitalists and communists, they are also fighting. Capitalists telling all the resources are under our control. And communists are telling everyone is same. Shamavad. They are telling Shamavad. That everything should be, all the resources should be under the custody of the laborers. All the common people should have the control. So this is the conflict because they don't know the real principle of Ishavasham principle. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is giving the wonderful analogy that this is actually elaborately described, elaborately discussed, will be more elaborately discussed in the section of Ishopanishad. When we will discuss Ishopanishad, this section will be discussed in one chapter only. So this is the same thing, that is Uttahar. What is the effect of Uttahar? Srila Prabhupada is taking, why Srila Prabhupada is writing this way the purport? Because Srila Prabhupada is writing the purport in the modern time. So what Uttahar principle has done how much trouble in this world, that's Srila Prabhupada is highlighting. The conflict between capitalist and communist is also the reason of Uttahar. And that's why, because no one is understanding that all the resources are belong to Krishna. So that is a Krishna conscious communism is there. That is called spiritual communism. Daiva Samavad, Vedic Samavad. That is a book written by Srila Prabhupada in Bengali. Old edition, very much old, early published. Vedic Samavad. If you got it, you can read it. Very interesting article in Bengali. So there Srila Prabhupada elaborated this principle. That actually if we understand, if the entire world understand that entire material world is belong to Krishna, then there will be no conflict. Everyone will get their own share. So that is the point. So here actually Srila Prabhupada is writing the same thing, that this conflict can be mitigated only by following the principle of Rupa Goswami. That is, that we will study that what we should do to avoid, get out of this thing. This is the negative things. These negative things can be overcome by doing some positive activity. That activity we will discuss in our next class. So this is the thing, and I think here the solution has been given in the paragraph. This is the solution. Ishavasham idam sarvam jatkincha jagatam jagat te nitakteno bhunjita maagritagasya siddhanam. This is the Ishavasham principle. This Ishavasham principle, this one principle can solve all this problem at one stroke. So these last paragraphs are all details. You can read in detail. I'm just briefing it out that this is actually all about all the conflict is due to the who will take the possession. Just you can see today in the today's world, who will take possession of the oil mines. Now the main resource is oil. So the conflict is going among in the world, in the Middle East. So many conflict is going on. Who will take the possession? That is also Uttahar. So this Uttahar is the root cause of is the root factor of our spoiling our devotional life. So we have to come out from this Uttahar. And at our individual level and also at global level. Initially, Srila Prabhupada has given the impact of the individual level, and now he is giving the purport of the global level. How this Uttahar principle is affecting a global turmoil and how it can be solved. The Ishavasham principle, by understanding that all the resources of is Krishna's under the jurisdiction of Krishna, this Uttahar principle can be solved. This is a summary of this last paragraph. So I am not reading the detailed way, but the summarized way I am ending this session, because this you can read and understand the global effect and the individual level and the global level. This way Krishna Prabhupada has explained this part. So Krishna conscious devotee should be very much alert in following, in avoiding these 6 activities, these 6 hindrance to devotional service, by taking wholehearted shelter of this Krishna conscious movement. So this is the thing that we have to come to this platform. So I will Yes. So anyone has any question, any comment, any correction, they can ask me. So we are ending the class now here. One important analogy I think you can read from the book, that is $100 note is lying down. So that analogy is very important analogy. How to utilize the money. We are not like Falgu Boiragi. So just have a look of this particular section of the purport. We can end the discussion. Or any question can be asked now also. So here Srila Prabhupada is giving.
What's the name of the book you told? Vedic Samoa.
Vedic Shambhavad.
Shamobhav.
Shambhavad.
Shamobhav.
Shambhavad. So this is the thing. If a $100 bill is lying on the street, someone may pick it up and pick it in the pocket. Such a man is not honest. Another man sees the money and decides let it remain there, thinking that he should not touch another's property. Although the second man does not steal the money for his own purpose, he is unaware of its proper use. The third man who sees the $100 bill may pick it up, find the man who lost it, and deliver it to him. This man does not steal the money to spend for himself, nor does he neglect it and let it lie in the street. By taking it and delivering it to the man who has lost it, this man is both wise, honest, and wise. So this is the main point, that we need to understand that whose resource this is. Krishna's resource. It is not that we have to give it to everyone or to accumulate for my wants, but we have to give it to Krishna service. Then the resource, the utilization of the resource will be proper, and our Uttahar principle will be mitigated. We will be free from this Uttahar. So here we are ending our class today. Any question, any clarification till on this, we can clarify.
Prabhuji, if
Yes.
if the third man who sees the $100 bill, pick it up and find the man who lost it, if he can't find the man and he use it for a good spiritual purpose, that money.
Yes, that is also good. Suppose you are seeing some money is lying down on the road, and
Yes.
you don't know to whom you can give. You can directly donate in the temple. So that is means
Yes.
Krishna's, because everything is ultimately Krishna's money. So when you cannot use it, you can use it in the Krishna service. That is the best way of using it. The person who has lost it, he will also get benefit by your utilization. He will also get blessed by Krishna, without unknowingly. For him or her, it will be an Agyata Shukriti. He may not know that you have utilized it, but he will get the benefit. Just
Yes.
like trees, the flowers that we are using, that the flower we are using for Krishna service, the trees are getting the spiritual benefit.
Yes.
You don't know. Okay, so that is the beauty, or that is the sublime beauty of devotional service, Krishna consciousness. Okay, thank you everyone for your patience and your valuable time. So we are ending our class here for the time being. Another thing I would like to ask, the next class, there will be next class. Next week there will be class, but next to next class is actually Deepavali. So would you like to have class, or we will take a break?
Break.
Break freely. Okay, now I am also in that same opinion that we can take a break. The next class is the Deepavali. We are not in hurry. Everyone
Yes.
comfortably. So when everyone is comfortable, we can do no problem. Only thing I am just worried about what about the other devotees who are attending initial 2-3 classes now? They are not turning up. I don't know whether the timing is not suitable or what is their difficulty. If they can share, that would be wonderful.
I think Prabhuji, maybe the timing is one of the issues because it's a 4 o'clock.
Ah.
So maybe you can talk to the other devotee. Maybe we can switch the time, maybe 4:30 or so. Where 6 o'clock there is a Chaitanya Charitamrita class.
Yes, yes.
Maybe I believe there's a timing as might be an issue because the 4 o'clock timing.
Timing might be an issue. I'm also thinking in that way. That timing might be an issue. Let's see. Then what time you can suggest? What can be the suitable time instead of 4 o'clock?
But anyhow, you don't have it because your class will take 1.5 hours. So maybe if you start at 4:30,
Now I have actually 1.5 hour. I have kept the duration, but actually the class is I am taking class only for 1 hour, basically 1 hour. Before that, I am just waiting, and then the kirtan is going on. Actually, I have kept it for question and answer and some MCQ test. But now I am saying that MCQ test is better to give it on the group only. Everyone can do it. Like now we have completed this verse 1, verse 2. So there will be an MCQ test on verse 2. So 1 hour, like 4:30 to 5:30 will be okay. Like 4 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock.
yeah, I believe that will be a good timing. Maybe you can ask that thing to the individual devotees.
Okay, okay.
But,
Okay.
but 4:30 will be a good time.
I think I will post a message in the group and everybody can freely express their view that what is happening, why the devotees are not coming to the class. I need to find out the reason what is happening. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you for your feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Next
Hare
week.